get in the Army, escape the area, escape the people that you're around, and that get burst, and then you get put back in that situation. And what's your mindset at this time? What's going through your mind? What's surrounding you at that point?
So at that point I was thinking, all right, well, I'm back here, what do? Find a good girl. Have some kids, settle it down, get a job, work 2 jobs, work full-time, overtime, and both, and try to make money that way.
But Shawn, tell us a little bit about your background.
Ooh, rough.
Here, can you guys hear him okay? You can scoot up.
You guys hear me all right? So yeah, my background is pretty
cool.
Pretty similar to Josh. Grew up poor. You know, my family mindset was you get out of high school, you get a job. Like that's it. You get a job. We're poor. My parents both worked second shift. I got in a lot of trouble as a kid. Quit school, went to work, just trying to like survive, right? Had some other issues going on. Ended up financially wound a little bit. Ended up federal prison, 4 years. Like it was crazy.
So you start out really young, parents poor. I know you come from a really small town. What size was your town?
Well, I grew up in a town of like 23,000, and to get me out of trouble, they moved out to a town of 480 people, like just to get me away from it, and then right back to it. I mean, I didn't even hesitate. I'm like, I need to be over here.
Yeah.
And the mindset for most of the people there, it's broke. It's broke. Nobody really has visions, dreams, nothing. But yeah, I got in trouble a lot as a kid.
You lived there. Did you do any sports in high school? You do anything like that? Did you even graduate high school?
No.
Didn't even graduate high school. So you end up, living with your parents, coming from a poor area. They moved you out to a town with only 400 fucking people, and you're like, fuck that. This is way too small. I can't cause any havoc out here. I'm going back to.
Still did.
Yeah, I'm going back to a little bit bigger of a city. And how big was that city?
25,000.
25,000 people, so still really small, right? And so you were just kind of poor all the way through. And then when did you start getting in trouble in life? When did things kind of like pick up on that end?
12, 13, 14, doing shit with the hooligans, ended up in juvie for about a year and a half.
And so at like 14, you end up in juvie.
Yeah, 15.
15. Yeah. And what was that for?
Wrong place, wrong time kind of thing. The guy I was with.
I mean, that's what all
home
us
invasion,
say. It's like
murder. Like it was nuts.
Oh, so that was at 15.
That was at 15. Yeah.
So that was a homicide case.
It was attempted murder.
Attempted
the
murder.
guy lived, but like he was really.
And you were probably the youngest one in your crew, hanging out with older people. Because I did that growing up too. I thought it was cool to hang out with older people and do all that things. And I wasn't mature enough, so I wasn't really sure what was going on. And I always caught myself in these bad fucking situations, right? It's really important about who you surround yourselves with, right? Because like, look at that situation. You're 15. You don't know much about what's going on in life, really. You just want to be accepted, right? We're poor. We're broke. We're coming from trailer parks, super small towns, right? And at the end of the day, all we want is a connection. Our parents really ain't connecting with us, right? It's like we're just kind of alone, and we're like, okay, who can we reach out to? Who can we hang out with? And we obviously look to people older than us, people that we think have it, right? Maybe they got a cool watch or cool shoes or smoking cigarettes or a cool car or whatever. And so we're like, hey, we're going to hang out with these guys. And then it leads you down a path to probably be associated with a guy that goes in and does a homicide, right? Probably a home invasion, ends up shooting the guy or something, right?
He hit him in the head with a sledgehammer.
Hit him in the head with a sledgehammer.
On fire. And I'm 15 years old seeing this. I'm like, what? Wait, I didn't sign up for this. Like this wasn't part of it.
And so you're scared out of your mind, but you're a part of a crime.
Yeah.
And then boom, you get slapped into juvie.
Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. And that's probably like the first time a bell goes off of like, okay, I need to watch who I surround myself with. Right?
Sorta. Sorta. Yeah, I still didn't get out of it. Like apparently I hadn't had enough. So.
Okay. So you go in, you're in juvie for a year and a half. You get out, you go back to the same area, right?
Right back back to it.
Right back to the same area. Probably already out of high school, not going to high school anymore or anything, right?
Yep.
And so what are you doing? Or do you end up like me? Like I'm kind of same story, right? So addiction, like a bunch of bad stuff, right? Is that kind of the same story you had?
I wanted out. So my idea was, hey, how do you get out? You go to the Army. I'm like, I'm getting out. So I go, get signed up, get all the way down to basic at Fort Jackson. I'm like, all right, this is great. And my recruiter was like, just don't say anything about that stuff. Well, moment of truth, I'm out.
And they just
Packing on a bus right back to Illinois. I'm like,
so as a kid, you're 18 at this time, right? You're 18. You're like, okay, I've been through a lot of bullshit, been to juvie, all this, haven't really finished high school, probably got your GED to be able to go in the Army, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you're like, you set yourself up because you're like, you know what? If I can just go do this one thing to separate myself from this place, if I can just go do this one thing to get outside the norm and not be like these people, then I'm going to go do it. So you sign up, you go all the way down to wherever their basic is, and then these guys, obviously, they're running NCIC, they're running background checks, and this comes up, and it probably just totally like burst your bubble, right? So you're like, you go from like being super excited, ready to change your life, ready for a new chance, right? Around new people, new things, some structure, shit that we didn't have as kids, right? And so you get down there and then they just, boom, pop it.
Burst.
And they're just like, you know what? Go back.
Let's go back.
Not accepted. And you move on from there. So you get home. Obviously, you're probably a wreck at this point. You're probably like, fuck, I just sacrificed to go get my GED. I just tried to position myself to go and get out of this whole situation, right? Because at that point, you're living basic, day to day, like, I'm just going to do the next thing. So you built a dream of escaping the area that you were in, right? And you built this dream that you were going to go get in the Army, escape the area, escape the people that you were around, and that get burst, and then you get put back in that situation. And what's your mindset at this time? What's going through your mind? What's surrounding you at that point?
So at that point, I was thinking, all right, well, I'm back here. What do? Find a good girl. Have some kids. Settle it down. Get a job. Work 2 jobs. Work full-time, overtime, and both, and try to make money that way. And it worked for a little bit.
So, did you end up getting a girl?
I got the girl.
Got the girl? Got her pregnant?
2 kids.
2 kids? Got a job? What kind of job did you do?
I worked at a group home for mentally disabled adults, and then I worked at a steel plant. So I worked 2 full-time jobs so she could stay home with the babies.
Okay. And then how long did that go on for?
We were together about 6 years.
About 6 years?
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened?
Well, the bottom fell out. When you work,
let's talk about that. Let's talk about the bottom, because I think the bottom is kind of what we're all trying to go through, right? Or what a lot of us go through, right? To take back your dreams and get out of that basic necessity of day to day. And some of you, it may not be that you don't have internet. It might not be that level or that basic need, right? It might be the fact that you're working 2 fucking jobs and you ain't happy where you're at and you're tired of slaving day in and day out, right? And you finally, your mind breaks, your soul breaks, your heart breaks, right? And you're just like, fuck it. And that's probably where you were in that moment, right? You were sitting there, you thought getting a wife, getting a couple kids is going to bring you happiness. Work your ass off so that they don't have to live the same way that you did growing up, right? Mm-hmm. And so you tried it. You jumped in there. You gave it your all. And at some point, you broke.
Yep.
And what did you do at that point when you broke?
Oh, man, I can remember it vividly. So I was on my way to work, like always, because all I literally would work 90, 95 hours a week, like constant. And I'm in my head, and I'm driving to work, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going back to it. I'm going back to the old me. That way, because nobody could harm me then. And I was, guarded. I got hit by a semi on my way to work. Boom, 55 miles an hour. Done. Like, I wake up in the hospital, like, what the hell happened? But it was crazy. That was like God saying, hey, slow down.
So you're having these thoughts, you're unhappy, you're tired of working so much, you're getting burnout. You realize that the plan you laid out for yourself wasn't working.
Yeah.
You weren't happy anymore. You didn't want to be there. It wasn't what you thought success and happiness really was. And so in your mind, you were like, you know what? I was happier fucking off, doing drugs, hanging out at bars, kicking it with the wrong people, right? Like, let me just go back to that because I don't have to try so hard. I don't have to work 2 jobs. I don't have to slave for it, right? And I can just kind of be a bum, really, at the end of the day. I mean, we weren't thinking that way. And I kind of went through, like, you know, similar shit. So I kind of get it. And you're on your way to fucking work. How old are you at this point?
24.
So you're 24, you're on your way to work. These thoughts are going through your mind, right? And boom, semi hits you.
Yep.
End up in the hospital. How bad did you end up getting hurt?
Broke my back, ribs. I got like a big scar that's still here in the side of my head. It was bad. Like I didn't have feeling in my legs for about 8 hours. Like I thought I was like done.
You got hit really hard.
Oh yeah, it was real bad.
And then how long were you in the hospital for?
6 days.
So 6 days. And between the time that you got hit and had those thoughts to the time that you got out of the hospital, where you probably should have died, right? I mean,
I should have been dead.
Yeah, you got hit by a fucking semi at 55, right?
Yeah.
You hear of a lot of people not coming through that.
Yeah.
So you have a near-life death experience or near-death experience, and you're alive. You're sitting in that hospital bed. And what thoughts are now circling your head at that point?
Like, all right, I gotta get my life back together. Just maintain. Just get it together. Keep moving forward.